Good afternoon and welcome to the second workshop in our Marketing Tools for Small Businesses series, hosted by ANCA Center for Pandemic Response in collaboration with CITEC Business Solutions and the SUNY Canton SBDC. My name is Mihaela and I'm a program navigator with the ANCA CPR. I know many of you were with us at the last session, but for those that are just joining us today, we'll go over a few housekeeping notes for today's session. I'll give a really quick introduction to ANCA and the CPR, and then we will get on to the main presentation. So a few notes before we get started. This event is being recorded and will be available on ANCA's YouTube channel following the session. We will also share the recording and slides with all registered participants. If you'd like to update your name as it appears on Zoom or add your pronouns, you can click the participant button at the bottom of your screen and select rename from the drop-down options next to your name. If you'd like to introduce yourself in the chat as well, with just your name, maybe your business name and where you're from, feel free to do so. I will keep all the participants, all of you, muted during the presentation, but you're more than welcome to type questions into the chat if you have them, and we'll try to keep track of that and I can read them aloud for you. And then we will have a little bit of time at the end for Q&A and discussion, at which time I can continue reading questions from the chat, but you'll also be able to unmute and ask questions yourself. So a quick introduction to ANCA and the Center for Pandemic Response. ANCA is a nonprofit based in Saranac Lake. We serve the 14 northernmost counties of New York. Our vision is a new economy that works for all, looking to build prosperity across northern New York and focusing on creating and sustaining wealth and value in local communities. We work across these four main service areas: small businesses, food systems, clean energy, and diversity and inclusion. Within our small business services, the Center for Pandemic Response is a single point of contact for businesses, nonprofits, and entrepreneurs to access programs and services that are provided across these four service areas within ANCA, as well as with our partners throughout the region. We work with a number of great partners throughout the region, including CITEC Business Solutions and the SUNY Canton Small Business Development Center, who are collaborating with us for these programs. And in a little more detail, that's more information about what it's like to work with the ANCA CPR. So feel free to reach out to us with any questions about what we do, and we are happy to support you with your business. Before I hand it off, a quick introduction for our speaker today. Joining us today for building your marketing plan is Aviva Gold from CITEC Business Solutions. Aviva leads marketing and communications at CITEC. She has a background in media production, graphic design, management, and development. She's known for forging comprehensive communication strategies that focus on goals and results. So thank you and welcome, Aviva. I will hand things over to you.
Hi there. Okay, I'm going to pull up my slides. There we go. You're going to let me know if that didn't work, right?
You are all set. I can see everything.
Okay. We just have a few slides and then we're going to jump right into building a marketing plan. As Mihaela said, this is the second in a series, kind of a marketing basics workshop. Last time we covered some basic concepts about marketing and goal setting. We're going to kind of go over those really quickly today. And then today I'll show you also a matrix that you can use to build a marketing plan and then how to use that thing to actually accomplish your marketing goals. And then I think Mihaela put it in the chat, a link to that document if you don't have it with you. I think she'll send it as well. And then in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks, I think, April 18th, Michelle Collins of the SBDC will be leading a workshop on digital media. So what sorts of social and digital media are best for your business, how to optimize your content, how to get the most from that kind of stuff. So, there we go. Whoops. Just really quickly about CITEC Business Solutions. We are we're part of a thing called the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. It's the MEP National Network. It's a federal program that is designed to strengthen U.S. manufacturing That being said, about 60% of our clients are manufacturers. The rest are just about every kind of business or organization that you find in the 7-county North Country, small businesses like your own, larger businesses, manufacturers, of course, also municipalities, educational institutions, service providers, all kinds of businesses. We focus on, because of our manufacturing basis, we do focus on process improvement, so continuous improvement, lean efficiency, that kind of stuff, safety, human resources, leadership and development, executive services like strategic planning, and marketing and business development. So, yep, I'm Aviva Gold. I do marketing for CITEC Business Solutions, and I work with our clients sometimes to develop comprehensive marketing strategies. So that's me. I am kind of hoping that you guys will enter your, oh, we got some already. Your, so this is kind of a lot of us, maybe not zillions, but probably too many to go around and do in introductions. I'd love to know your name, your business, maybe a little bit about what your business does. So that we all kind of know who's on the call. We've got Stephen, an artist and an illustrator. The Clinton Essex Franklin Library System, ADK girl, and the art house from Inlet. That's exciting. Lauren from Willisca, handbags and footwear in Saratoga County. That's great. So many great. Green Goddess in Lake Placid, Solitude Soapworks in Keene. Hi Mimi, Turtle Island. That's great. Thanks you guys. So everyone, when you get a little tired of hearing me talk, go ahead and take a peek at who else is in here with you. Oops. It takes a minute. So just a quick review of what we covered last time. And I don't, how many of you were here with me last time? Do your little hand raising, or you could hand wave. I can't see everybody, but I don't want to bore you guys, but I just want to put us all in marketing headspace. So we're going to do a quick review over what we covered. Oh, we got some hands raised. That's good. Like I said, we're just going to get into marketing headspace. So some of the things that we covered last time were defining your brand. So your brand is your logo and your name, of course, and those are really important to have. You have to have a name for your business, and you need a logo. But that's not really what your brand is, right? Your brand is bigger than that. It's how the world perceives your business, you know, and what you're putting out there in the world. That being said, having a name and a logo are really important. If you haven't thought of a name for your business yet, or you're in that stage, super important to get that pinned down. And then developing some images and logo. Not everybody is, you know, an artist, so you can get some help for doing that. It's easy to find help online. Also, Mahela will probably have some resources for you along those lines. And then we also talked about setting goals. Now, obviously, you're in business, you set goals for your business. You have revenue targets, you have, you know, production goals, you have all kinds of goals for your business that are around production and revenue. But when you're thinking about marketing, your goals might, one way to set goals in terms of marketing is customers, reaching people, reaching customers and clients. So it's just a little bit of a shift. You know, you're facing a slightly different way when you're setting your marketing goals, how you're going to reach people. So speaking of people, we talked about customers. You know, one way to sort of analyze your customers without going really deep is to kind of think about your ABC customers. We talked about an ABCD customer, actually. So your best customers, the easiest ones to reach, the ones that generate the most revenue with the least amount of effort, are your A customers. Oh, look at that art house put their logo in there. It's lovely. And then, you know, we talked about kind of separating your customers into different categories as far as how easy they are to reach and how loyal they are to you and how you're going to move them through the pipeline, as well as people that don't know about your business at all, kind of those D customers, those customers to be that don't yet know you and their role in it. There are other ways to break up your customers. For example, how you reach them is another way. You know, you might have your online customers and your in-person customers or what have you. The next thing that we talked about was your value proposition. So this is your unique selling proposition, why people should choose to buy your products from you. So it's like a simple sentence that defines that, why people should choose you over your competition, or what problem do you solve for your customers. Super important to kind of narrow that down. So I'm wondering, of the folks that were here last time, if any of you had a chance to go ahead and type in the chat, have any of you had a chance to kind of do some of these things, maybe review your goals and that with that slight shift, or work up a value proposition, maybe from some of the online tools that are available, or divide your customers and analyze your customers into that ABC model? Has anybody had a chance to give that a try? If you have, put a little bit of a note about it in the chat there. If you haven't, I know you're going to do it. It's going to be fun. And yes, thank you, Lauren. I hope it was a useful experience. I know it's going to come in handy as we build things out here. The other thing we talked about was different kinds of media. There are zillions of ways to break down the different kinds of media, but we talked about it in terms of paid media, earned media, and self-generated media. So paid media, advertising, stuff that you pay for, earned media, stuff that other people say about you, and self-generated media, which is mostly what smaller businesses are going to engage in, right? Building your own website, doing your emails, social media, Google AdWords, package drops, posters, flyers, whatever your thing is. Those are the kinds of things that you're going to be most engaged with. And somebody, Sabrina, has said that they did a lot of stuff, pinpointed their customers, got a website started on Square. That's nice. And redesigned and fine-tuned the logo. That's amazing. 2 weeks. Yes. And then the last thing I want to point out, and I said this before, and I'll probably say it several times in this discussion, is that your business probably in 2023 needs an actual website as opposed to just a Facebook page. I can imagine, certain B2B businesses that maybe don't need a website, but I can imagine that there are those businesses, but I can't think of any examples. So I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but I just think that it's really important that if you have a business in 2023, you need an actual website that people can go to without having to sign into anything. So it's not on any specific platform. It's just right there on the internet. Anyway, that's all what we talked about. That's all what we talked about last time. But this time, what we're going to talk about is building a plan. And I'm going to give you a tool that kind of helps lay out the plan. But then the question is, like, what do you do with that thing? So, so before we go into that spreadsheet that Mihaela shared with you, I'm going to talk about what to do with it when you're done with it, or while you're working with it, or once you have something like that. A marketing plan is super great, but it's just a plan, and a plan doesn't really do you any good unless you actually take the plan and turn the things in the plan into tasks, and then you have to actually do those tasks. So, lists and calendars, very old school tools, but they work really well, and they have for millennia. So once you have the plan, super important to turn the plan into tasks and put them on a calendar, schedule them in whatever way works for you. Maybe it's not a calendar, but whatever your jam is to actually do things. So you have a list, a task list or a calendar, whatever it is, that it's on there. And when you do it, you can cross it off or move it to another day or what have you. So that's a super important part about having a marketing plan and then using it. The other thing is that this is going to be a living document. It's not going to be set in stone. So you're going to need to review it, monthly, quarterly, bi-monthly, whatever your thing is, whatever you decide works for your business. You need to review this marketing plan. You kind of go back and you look at it and say, am I doing these things? And if you're not, if you're not able to do the tasks that you've created for yourself, you need to revise how you set that up. Or am I doing these tasks, but they're not helping me meet my goals? Like I have my goals, am I meeting them? And you're going to be able to tell if you're meeting your goals, right? You have your revenue targets for your business. So that's one way. And then a lot of the tools that, we use online and stuff actually can tell you how many people you're reaching. And so you'll have tools to help you determine if you're, meeting your goals or reaching the numbers of people that you want to, obviously, and you want to benchmark that against your revenue targets and your profit margins and all that stuff. But the only way that that's useful to you is if you actually do those comparisons. You have to go back and say, am I meeting my goals and am I meeting my targets, and am I able to keep up with these tasks? And if not, you adjust, and then you start over and keep revising. So that's how you're going to use this plan. It's super fun. I'm seeing lots of nice images and logos and taglines and maybe even some value prop right there in the chat. Thanks for sharing those, you guys. I'm going to pull up this spreadsheet thing now, and we'll go through it together. Okay. And you guys are going to tell me if you're not seeing this thing right.
Okay. We can see it.
Okay, great. So the first tab on this thing is this ABC customers, and this like A, B, and C columns through row 5 should look sort of familiar if you were with us last time. This was basically the chart that I showed in one of my slides last time. So it's really an important little exercise to kind of analyze your clients. And this is a great place to do that. So you can describe your customers and how they find you, your best customers, right? Those ones that sustain your business, the ones that come in and they're the easiest to find. And if you're having trouble kind of describing them, and also if your business is just starting, you might not have these clients yet, but you can imagine them. You can, right? That's going to be how you start, right? You're in business to solve problems for somebody. So who is that? You can describe them, and this sort of description of your clients is going to come in handy, as you see when we get to the next tab. Another way that you might choose to not use this ABC model, or to use this ABC model, but then also to break it down a different way. Like, how do you reach those customers, like your online customers, your in-person customers, and then describe them. You might even name them. But if you describe them and you have this kind of idea of who your customers are, it's going to come in handy when you move into this marketing matrix. So this is kind of a big document. You can't even see all of the rows here, but that's okay because we're going to go through them. And I'll show you kind of one way to set this up. And then we'll go back and talk about, again, how to use this thing. So one thing that we haven't talked about, but you might have already gone through exercises with your business, some strategic planning where you have a mission and vision and value, core values for your business. Some people do, some people kind of don't find that to be a useful activity at the beginning of their business. Some people find that that's what has driven them to build their business in the first place. So I do urge you to kind of think about those things and consider some strategic planning in those ways. There are resources online to help you think through those things. Those can be guiding principles. They're not exactly marketing principles, but they do kind of guide your business. And I tend to keep them in the front of mind when I'm building my marketing plans. They help me from straying off into some direction that may or may not be relevant to why my business exists in the first place. So I think those are really important. So if you have those things, you can stick them right here. So they're always right on there when you're thinking about your marketing. But we did talk about value proposition, that one phrase that helps you, that thing about, your unique selling statement, why people should buy your products from you. And then also on here is kind of put some taglines that you use, like if you're Nike, like just do it would go there. One thing we didn't talk about, and we haven't really talked about, is this idea of, taglines or copy. By copy, I mean like the text, the actual words that you put on your website, or those images, those photographs of, your business, or you working, or, your products, all of that stuff. For some people, that's really easy. The descriptions and the words just flow right out of them. And, they have solid grammar, and they can talk about products forever and ever. like myself, for example. But for some people, that's more challenging. And the same with images. Some of those design issues, you might be really visual, but you might not have experience actually creating those the kinds of image files that you can use in print and media and social media and inline. So those files have particular characteristics that you have to create, and know a little bit about how all these things work. And if that's not your expertise, I am going to go ahead and also refer you to Mahela, who may have some resources for you. But there are people around, for a lot of you. I know that you're kind of in it on your own, but you may know people. There may be resources in your community to help with some of those kinds of things. Also business partners. But it is going to be important that your images and your text are clean. You have clean copy. By clean, I just mean clear, readable, legible, makes sense. So if that's not your jam, I'm gonna say that you should get some help with that. And last time somebody asked, like, what is the percentage of your revenue or your business goals or what have you that you should spend on marketing? And I just don't have an answer for that. Marketing professionals, they say it's 10-15% of a business's revenue. But in cases of startups or really small businesses, it's a lot of stuff that you're doing on your own. I don't know how you would even calculate the cost of that, if you think about revenue in dollars per hour. And everybody is going to have a different capacity to produce some of this stuff on their own, and some of it stuff they're going to need help with. And that's part of marketing costs that you're going to need to calculate, in addition to any like paid media, or, you know, when you think about advertising costs or marketing costs, those are, you know, things that actually, you know, actual things like an ad or, you know, ball caps with your name on it or whatever. Those are actual things that cost money. But some of these services, you know, maybe something that you should consider budgeting for or budgeting time for. Okay, so enough about that.
Real quick, Aviva, we did have a question in the chat. I think if we could just backtrack for 1 second. From Abram, how do you name your customers? Are you referring to actual names like a person or a company, or is there another type of convention to use?
Yeah, so when I wrote name them here, I actually am like thinking names. So a lot of times, like a small business or a startup, they have like 5 great customers, and they're trying to describe them like they're, you know, dog owners with you know, red hair or whatever, you know, that may be like useful for their business. But sometimes if you can't get a handle on whatever kind of useful demographic that would help you to expand into like how to think about them, just go ahead and put their names down. And when you put down the name of your top 5 customers, you might start to see, oh wait, these are all you know, people who wear glasses. And then you know that, oh, you know, my best customers wear glasses. I can reach them at the optometrist's office or whatever. You know, that's a really dumb example, but so if you're having trouble describing them, it might help you to just list them. Just go ahead and, maybe name isn't the right word. Maybe I should just change this to be list. See, I knew I would change this. Or changes all the time. Okay. So the idea behind that is to just try and form groups that you can reach together in the same way. And, you know, classic demographics are handy, like, you know, they're men, 18 to 24-year-old men or whatever. But I think for a lot of really sort of specific and startup businesses, the demographics might be, you know, especially in the North Country, where we have small communities, if it's going to be a locally focused business, the demographics are different, and they aren't your standard, you know, Census Bureau demographics. So when you describe your clients that are actually your clients or that are your imaginary clients, they're going to have different characteristics than those Census Bureau demographics. And that's one way that you're going to be able to find ways to target them, is to just describe them. And if you can't describe them, that's when you would just go ahead and list them. Does that seem like kind of an answer to that question? I hope so. Just hit me up later if not. So coming back to this marketing matrix. So we have this column here. It's up here. These things are really column A. These are just for reference up here, but column A is initiatives, like your initiatives. So you're gonna we have this one that's called general branding, and I'm gonna go through that one. But then below that is going to be your individual products. Thank you. Your products or your services or your events or the things that you're selling. And then your marketing plan is going to go horizontally across. But you should always do some kind of general branding marketing in addition to marketing your specific products or events. So when we talk about general branding, right, that's going to be your website. And like I said before, it's how the world perceives your company. So this kind of marketing is, it's kind of frustrating because it's very often hard to get metrics. Am I reaching my audience? Am I meeting? There's really not ways to measure, you know, KPIs from general branding marketing, but you still, you know, want to make sure, even if you're not spending any money at it, you want to make sure you're keeping an awareness all the time of how your company is being perceived in a general way. So going across this matrix for your general branding marketing, you're going to have goals, and your main goal is going to just be to raise awareness of your company. But that's not going to be necessarily your only goal for your general branding type of campaign. Like maybe you're in business because of a certain kind of worldview. Like if you're an organic farm, maybe you want to also raise awareness of related topics about certain kinds of production processes. And last time we tended to use an example of a coffee shop. So you have a coffee shop, and maybe your coffee shop focuses on coffee that's grown in a particular way or roasted in a particular way. Whatever your thing is, you may also want to raise awareness of those kinds of topics, right? Like and you can do that on your website or in your social media posts. And that's going to kind of be part of how your brand is perceived in the world. So it's kind of part of this whole general branding marketing type of thing. Another thing for building your brand is you might decide that doing some strategic planning, like really focusing on a mission or vision and core values, is something that you should spend some time on. But if you already have those mission, vision, and values, you might want to find ways to package those and share those with the world, because they're going to help. They're going to be associated with your brand and help build a bigger picture of what your business is, why it's there, and that's going to help define your customers and that kind of thing. So, and then whenever we're, so that's your goals. And then we're going to talk about audience. So the audience for your general branding campaign is going to be any potential customer, right? That's not always about customers. It could just be people that are interested in your related topics. But there also might be like levers for your customers. And this is going to be true for all your products too. Like, suppose you're a coffee shop, and you want everyone in the world to know about your coffee shop, or everyone in your community, or whatever the deal is. But you might also, if it turns out that college students perform better when they drink your coffee, you might be trying to appeal to college students, but you might also appeal to college professors, right? You'd have to reach, all these individual college students, but a professor has 80 students that they could reach for you, and they want their students to do well and succeed in their classes. So if you reach college professors, they might, then go ahead and hawk your products for you to all of their students. So when you're thinking about your audience, you are thinking about your customers, but you're not only thinking about your customers. Who's the audience who you're trying to get to help you sell your products as well? And then you're going to go ahead and fill out these media boxes. Like, do I want any earned media? Do I want any newspaper to write about me? And, maybe you do. Maybe you want, maybe you have a really cool like antique roaster, and you decide that once a year I'm going to get an article about my roaster into Antique Roaster magazine. That's one kind of goal that you can have for general branding. You might also have like local, like I want my Chamber of Commerce to put one article about me in their monthly e-news in the spring of 2023. So that's just some kinds of things to think about as far as earned media. Same with paid media. Do I want to advertise for general branding and pay for it? If you're a coffee shop that's right off a major highway, maybe you want to think about a billboard. It's worth considering. look into the pricing and that kind of thing. And then the self-generated media, like we talked about, this is where most of your work is going to go. General branding is going to be your website. And we talked about this. You need a website. And all of the other things. You know, how are you going to promote your business? You're going to have your website. Everything's going to relate back to it. But am I going to do regular blog postings that are just general, not about any particular product? Am I going to send out emails? Am I going to post on social media? What is those going to look like? Am I going to have stickers? Am I going to put package drops, little postcards, whatever? And then I have this other column here. Other is for other stuff that I might think, hey, you know what? I don't want a billboard this year, but I don't want to forget that there's a billboard out there. Maybe I'll want it next year, so I put it in there. Or maybe I did something last year that didn't work, and I don't want to do it again. I might want to put a note here in other, like, hey, don't try that again. And then the last column on here, I'm scared to move this because I've had some trouble with it moving back. I have a revenue or a money column on here. I tend to use this for targets. How does this relate to my target? Obviously, for general branding, I'm not going to come up with anything, but when we go across here with products, sometimes I use my revenue. I put my revenue targets here to help me kind of keep an eye on, are these marketing things working for my revenue targets? But some people, you might use this. I've had people actually use this for costs. Like, how much money do I want to spend on these things, so that it's a spreadsheet of totals. I mean, obviously you can add whatever you want to this. It's a spreadsheet, and this is just a template. So, so that's that. That's kind of like for the general branding. So the same, all of that would go for a product or service. And you kind of, what I tend to do is list all of my products and services here, or events, you know. I think it seems like it's more straightforward than sometimes it is. Like, if you're a coffee shop, you don't want to put like plain regular coffee, lattes, mochas. That's kind of silly, right? But you might have, you know, a category of coffee beverages, or hot coffee, cold coffee. You might have, you know, baked goods, your savory meals. You might have some events like live music nights, and you know, whatever fundraising things that you do. And so each of these kinds of things are going to have goals. For products, for marketing, right, you already have your revenue targets, and you probably already have your production targets, but it's good to find a goal to put onto your marketing plan. This is like, you know, how many products I'm going to sell per day, or per week, or per month, or whatever makes sense to you. Or I'm going to sell more of this kind of product than I did last year, a % increase. Just some way that works for your business, to how you're gonna keep track of whether or not you're reaching your goals. You're gonna put them here on your marketing plan. Some of your marketing plan goals are gonna be people. Like, I just wanna reach 1,000 people about our coffee. And you can try and keep track of that in different ways. And then again, here's what's your audience. So like, if this was, you know, coffee beverages, you're going to think about those A, B, and C customers from that previous tab. You know, who am I going to reach? I'm going to reach my A customers with the coffee marketing. I'm going to reach some B customers. I'm going to ignore my C customers, and I'm going to try and reach people that don't know about me at all. And you're going to fill this out a little bit and describe them. Maybe you're copying them from your previous tab, or maybe you're just kind of imagining different versions of your best and worst customers in that way. And then of course, you're going to think about always these non-customers, other people that help you sell your products. And then you're going to work on the media, right? Are you gonna get a story in a newspaper about your coffee? Probably not. You might choose to pay for some media, or you might choose to start with social media that I know that you're gonna learn about in a couple of weeks with Michelle Collins, and you'll be able to kind of tell what kinds of social media are working and which ones will benefit from maybe a little financial boost. So that's kind of stuff that's going to go in this row here. The self-generated media, this is going to be your big box with all of your, maybe I'm going to blog about my coffee once a week, and I'm going to post from the blog, on every social media, and I'm going to do however many additional posts, and I'm going to start doing a, buy 10, get 1 free type of card in my shop. And then do your other and that kind of thing. So you're going to go ahead, and that's how this thing works. Why isn't it going? Oh, because it is at the end. You're going to put all your goods and services here and fill out this plan. Another thing that could be useful, a different way to break down these things, are on these other tabs. So it's like a product timeline. And again, I have these things up here always as a reference. Just copy and paste them. And sometimes your business may have seasonalities to them. Like you may sell a special kind of coffee only during the cold months. So you would, put, your coffee here in the, you call this the cold month coffee. I don't know why this only has April. I guess I just did it for this year. And, this is the cold coffee. Oops. Cold month coffee, like special, super hot or something. And you describe your A customers for this particular product. These are people that are always freezing cold. And then you're only going to do this during those cold months. And maybe this is like, it's Mother's Day coffee or whatever your thing is. You're only going to promote, your Mother's Day coffee in April and May. And then, your special, whatever your products are, if you don't do them all year round, you might want to develop a calendar type of thing that kind of helps guide you how you're going to market through the year. And same kind of thing, it might be the case that your customers are cyclical, like your in-person customers only happen in June, July, and August, and the rest of the year you're online. So so you're gonna break things down like that. This isn't really A/B. This is like, this is more like X, Y, Z. Customers, and kind of try and figure out what times of year you want to market for them. So that's kind of that's how this matrix works. And it's just a tool. It's just a tool to sort of help you set up your ideas and plans. But like I said before, it's really important that you take those plans and you turn them into actual tasks. So once you have the plan, you have to actually make them actions. And, to say that you're going to post 3 times a week isn't to actually post on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And even that, it might be the case that in order to post 3 times a week, I need to write a blog and I need to take 16 photos. So in order to make those things happen, you have to break them down into tasks and go ahead and put them on a to-do list. And if your to-do list is a calendar or whatever, however it works for you, if you don't turn them into tasks, it's not going to get done. And that's what's really important to actually, getting your marketing accomplished. And then, like I said, after you do it for a month, review, adjust, check, adjust. So that's really all I have to say today. I see a comment here, several apps that make content easier for social media. So true. So Ripple is $10 a month. Oh, that's awesome that it works off your cell phone, drops your logo, brand contents. Yep, there are tons of those things. It can be overwhelming when there are a lot of them, because there are so many of them, and it kind of depends what you want to do. So I recommend using one that like a neighbor of yours also uses and finds handy, like if you have a similar business, so you can use each other as a reference to sort of finding out what's the best way to get some of these things managed. Did anyone else have any questions or comments? Anything to add?
Just gonna give everyone the option to unmute so that you can ask questions out loud if you want to. Abram, it looked like you had a kind of a follow-up question about naming your customers. Did you want to speak to that more, or did it get answered?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So one or the other, or you can work them together. Like, or use the actual examples to build out, what those, where you're going to find more of those same sorts of customers. I put my contact information on the screen. Please feel free to email or call with any questions anytime.
I know, Sabrina, you shared some platforms and things like that. If anyone else has platforms that they like to use for social media management or something you found useful, feel free to pop them in the chat, and we'll be sure to share those with the recording as well.
I just have something to add to this, just a little bit. When you were saying about the Excel to like push your products, like punch your products in there so you can see exactly what's selling when. I don't know like what most people are using for their point of sale system, but Square does a fabulous job of like pinpointing without actually having to like reinvent the wheel. So I know for like myself and the nonprofits that I sit on and the other fellow artists, we wear a ton of different hats, and time is so limited. It seems like we spend most of our time outside of the studio instead of in it, trying to deal with the business aspect instead of creating. But I do know with Square, for those of you who don't use it, that actually does an amazing job of pushing reports through so you can see exactly what's selling, when it's selling, who it's selling to, what time of year it sells. So that might be something if those on here are just starting out and they don't have a point of sale platform. I would recommend it just because you can really drive down and pinpoint your marketing and what's really moving and your customer base and whether those customers are actually coming back to you, because it'll tell you all that. Okay, that's all I had.
Yeah, that's true. There's yeah, Square is a good one, obviously, because it's so it integrates with a lot of websites and web builders. It's really great if if your business does a lot of online sales and credit card sales. It's more challenging. That kind of stuff is more challenging if you're doing a cash business, but still it's a great lot of great tools within that system for sure.
Yeah, it comes with a free website as well. I'm not crazy about the layout of the website for it, but as far as like point of sales, like for cash, it tracks everything. As much as you want to put into it, it'll track, but it's good for anybody that's just starting up. And the percentage rate is a whole lot less than a lot of the banks and other things. So, all right, that was just it.
Thanks, Sabrina.
Any other questions? Okay, I think we'll go ahead and wrap things up today, folks. So thank you all for joining us, and thank you so much, Aviva, for sharing your expertise and resources with us. Again, this is part of a 3-part series on marketing for your small businesses. So if you missed the first session in the series, it is up on our YouTube channel, and we'll share that recording alongside this one in the coming days. And then the third and final workshop is with Michelle Collins, which Aviva has mentioned a couple times, with the SUNY Canton SBDC, and that is on digital marketing basics, coming up on April 18th, Tuesday, April 18th at the same time on Zoom. See a couple other things.
Yeah, lots
in
of
the chat.
cool,
I want to make sure we don't miss here before we close out. Thank you,
yeah,
Stephen.
maybe if you could download the chat and send that out too when you.
Yes, I think we will. Go
Yeah,
ahead and make sure
cool.
this is downloaded. Okay, great. Thank you for everyone who shared resources and tips in the chat. And it's great to see everyone's business logos and progress that they're making on marketing as well.
Agreed.
All right. All right. So thanks again, everyone. Thank you, Aviva, and have a good rest of your day.